Hello and welcome to Learn A-Level Biology for free with Miss Estrick. This video is going through the statistic, the student t-test. So if we have a look at the flow diagram first of all, showing the three statistics that you need to know for A-Level Biology, there's correlation coefficient, the student t-test and chi-squared. And in this one, we're just going through the student t-test. So you would use this one if you are collecting continuous data and then you're investigating the difference between the two means of that continuous data. So for example, if you're looking to see, is there a difference between the mean species richness in two different habitats? So with the student t-test, like all statistics in A-level biology, you would not be asked to calculate the statistic in the exam. Your teachers might ask you to do it as part of your required practical, but you don't have to know how to do that in the exam. These are the only three things that they could ask you. So to justify the choice of statistic is what we were just saying, is if you're investigating a difference between two means. So that's what you'd be looking for. This is how you would calculate it. So if you did need it for a required practical, then you'd use this formula, where x is mean 1 and x2 is mean 2. Here is your standard deviation of the first set of data, but you'll have to square it, and n is the number of samples. I'm not going to go through that in this video though. I'm going to be focusing on what AQA and the other exam boards could ask you in the exam. So you would be given the chi-squared value that someone else had already calculated, or you could be given the p-value straight away. If you're given the chi-squared value, you would then need to compare it to a critical value. And you can either have an unpaired student t-test or a paired student t-test, and that determines how you work out your degrees of freedom. So if it's a paired student t-test, that means the two means are from sets of data that were collected from the same individual. That's why we're saying the results are paired. All the data came from one individual, and therefore you automatically have to have the same sample size. However, sometimes you would have an unpaired t-test where you won't necessarily have the same numbers of samples. So with the species richness example that I said, you wouldn't necessarily have the same number of results, and that's why we then calculate our degrees of freedom in this way. So however many repeats you took in sample 1 plus the number of repeats in sample 2 minus 2. So for an example of a paired t-test, a student investigating the effect of exercise on heart rate, and if they were taking all of those results just from one individual, it'd be a paired t-test. So once you then know your degrees of freedom, you would read across. So let's imagine we had 5 degrees of freedom. You would then read across and we compare to the p-value of 0.05, or in this table they've called it probability value. So 0.05, and you'd have to see, does your calculated value exceed or meet that threshold critical value? So we'll have a go at how you'd write the conclusions. And within your conclusion, you always have to say, do you accept or reject your null hypothesis? Is there more or less than 5% probability that the difference you see in the means is due to chance? And the null hypothesis will be stating that there is no difference between the two means, whatever those variables are. So I've got an example here. We've got a student calculated a student t-test value of 4.82, and we're told that they have 2 degrees of freedom. So we then go to our 2 degrees of freedom row and read across. Now we can't compare to a p-value of 0.10, because that would mean we have 10% probability the difference is due to chance. That is too high probability that it's just coincidence, that it's just chance. So we always use the p equals 0.05 as our cutoff to decide if a difference is significant or not. And our calculated value of 4.82 does exceed the critical value of 4.31. So we've exceeded that threshold, that means we can reject the null hypothesis, and therefore that means there is a significant difference between the two means. We know that because if it's exceeded the critical value at p equals 0.05, what a p-value tells you is that is the probability that the result is due to chance. So that means we have less than 5% probability that the difference is due to chance, meaning we're 95% confident that it is a significant difference between those two means. Another example here, a student calculated a student's t-test value of 2.01 with 5 degrees of freedom. So 5 degrees, again we need to compare it 0.05, but this time our calculated value of 2.01 does not meet or exceed that critical value. So that means that it is not a significant difference, and therefore we have to accept the null hypothesis that there is no significant difference between the two means. And that's because if it doesn't reach that threshold, it means we must have more than 5% probability that the difference between the two means is due to chance. So we can't be 95% confident. Now this here is a typical critical analysis style question, and in this example we've got scientists investigated whether there was a change in the communities of 3 different habitats between 2019 and 2020. They measured the changes in mean species richness at those 3 habitats. So mean species richness was their measurement to see if there's a change in the communities. And because it's a difference between 2 means, that is why it'd be student t-test. We've got our 3 habitats, and the first one we can see we've got a decrease for the change in mean species richness. The other 2, it's an increase. The final thing we've been given is a p-value for each of those. And a p-value tells you the probability that that result is due to chance. So we're going to be using those to work out the answer to this question. The scientists concluded that the communities did change. So that's the conclusion they're giving us. Using only the data in the table, evaluate this conclusion. So we have to use these 3 rows of data to see which support the conclusion that there was a change and which, if any, don't support the conclusion that there was a change. So in red is the data that does not support the conclusion. So habitat C, our p-value is greater than 0.05, which means there is more than 5% probability that the increase in mean species richness that we see here was due to chance. And because we've got more than 5% probability, that means it does not show a significant change. The other 2 are both less than 5. And for habitat B, it's actually less than 1% probability that the increase we see is due to chance. And for habitat A, it's less than 5% probability that the decrease we saw was due to chance. So therefore, there was a significant increase in mean species richness for habitat B, and it was a mean species, there was a significant decrease for habitat A. So for those 3 marks, they'd be wanting you to point out the fact that the top 2 were significant changes. One's an increase, one's a decrease. The bottom one was not significant. And then there would always be a mark for talking about the p-value. So you're showing that you know what a p-value is. So a p-value is the probability that the result is due to chance, and less than or equal to 0.05 is our cutoff to say that it is significant or not. So that is it for students t-test. Hopefully you found that helpful. Make sure you click the subscribe button to keep up to date with the latest videos, and please give it a thumbs up if you have found this helpful today.